Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Iron Man 2. This is, of course, the sequel to Iron Man, the third film in the very brand new MCU at this point, still distributed through Paramount. Disney had not bought them yet, technically. I can't remember what exactly what year. It was 2012, wasn't it? Or is that Star Wars? Either way. This is from 2010. It's 2 hours and 6 minutes long, and we had Tony Stark we kind of pick up maybe a few weeks, few months after his big reveal at the end of Iron Man 2 that Tony Stark is Iron Man, and that name, that phrase is going to come back all the way to the end of the arc of his character in Avengers Endgame. Spoilers, I know, I'm sorry. But he's coming back. Well, at least Robert Downey Jr. is. But we can talk about that some other time. In this, we get, of course, a very highly demanded, anticipated sequel. After the humongous blockbuster that the original was in 2008, they pretty much rushed this into production. And in some ways, a lot of people consider this to be the first kind of letdown, even though the Incredible Hulk existed, to a certain degree. This is literally the third in the run. There was Iron Man, there is the Incredible Hulk in the same year, 2008, and that was through Universal and Paramount. Remember that Marvel Studios was an untested thing. It was, when it first was launched, there was no reason for anybody to believe that a movie starring a character nobody, except for the comic book nerds, really, and kids who watch cartoons growing up, would even care about. But that's to the testament of Jon Favreau's direction and, of course, Robert Downey Jr.'s performance as an ego-driven, narcissistic manufacturer of weapons of war, and then having his life turned around in a moment that made him a hero, despite every instinct not to be. When we see Iron Man in this, we see Tony, I should say, from the very beginning. The very first shot of his face is in the Iron Man outfit, plummeting towards Earth, explosions going off all around him. You think he's in the middle of a battle or something, but no, it's fireworks going off, and he lands smack dab in the middle of a crowd with dancers in Iron Man type outfits, and yeah, crowds cheering him on, feeding his ego. It's all about him, as much as even just a few minutes later in a government hearing, he says, "It's not about me. It's definitely about him." No, actually, no. He says that on the stage while people are screaming his name and cheering him on. And yeah, that was the fandom also at the time. We were all going, "Oh my gosh, yay, Tony Stark, yay, Robert Downey Jr., let's have more of this." And in a lot of cases, people consider this to be the worst of 3 Iron Man films, and one of the lowest quality, I guess, Marvel Cinematic Universe films. And I kind of agreed with them for a little bit, but watching this again after so long, while it's not the greatest of the films, it's definitely a character building piece. What we see in the villains are basically elements, just mirror images of aspects of Tony's character. Justin Hammer, played by Sam Rockwell, who very well could have been the man who played Tony Stark had they gone a different direction, because he's got all the charisma. Sam Rockwell is always amazing in pretty much anything he's in. He's got all the charisma, the snappy patter, but in this case, though, he's such a good actor that he plays Justin Hammer is a Tony Stark who never was redeemed, who has no morals, who is still the warmonger, who is still the one who just wants the glory, the power, the money, everything. He wants everything that Tony Stark is, but you could see in just his performance that he knows he deserves none of it, that he does not have the confidence at all. I mean, when he's being interviewed by reporter Leslie Bibb, who we saw in the earlier film that Tony had hooked up with, she's interviewing Justin Hammer in Monaco during the race, during the F1 races, and had she been interviewing Tony Stark, he probably wouldn't have let her go. She wouldn't have been able to walk all over him the way she pretty much pulled herself out of the conversation with Justin Hammer. To cover Tony Stark, of course, but still, the idea is that Justin Hammer knows that everything about him is a lie, and he's just making it until he breaks it. He's just doing whatever he can. He's got the charisma, he's got the charm, he's got the patter. Nobody likes him. And I don't think he likes himself. And it could have been the path that Tony went down himself, or more than likely would have, yes, gone down had he not been captured and put in that cave in the first film. But yeah, and that's, yeah, I'm not going to go down I'm not going to go down that route. There's a whole lot of things that I could talk about. Because just, again, Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU as Dr. Doom, or just Doom, depending on how they go with it. There's many, I think what we're seeing in Doom is a what if of Tony. It's not that, is the actor playing a completely different character. It's Doom, I think, I don't know, is a what if. Tony had been born in Latveria, maybe. Tony had just, his life circumstances had changed on a different reality. Just saying. That Doom isn't from the MCU that we know. I'm just saying, that's probably what it is. Anyway, that's not for this video. I could go on for days on that conversation. But in this, we don't just get characters we know and love. We get Pepper, and we get Happy. We get, of course, new characters like Justin Hammer as a villain, and we also get, why can't I say his name, Mickey Rourke as Ivan Vanko, who is Whiplash, a kind of C-level villain, even though he was an Iron Man villain in the comics, but he's kind of a C-level kind of guy. He had a weird green ponytail, and he would just have like electric whips and stuff. In this, he looks pretty menacing, and he has a lot of... He's also a mirror image of Tony. He's got all the brains without the wealth, without the upbringing. As much as Tony may hate his father, or just never had the connection with his father that he wanted, Ivan Vanko had a relationship with his father that he mourned, that he was close with, even though their lives were torn apart as a result of the choices of Tony's father. But yeah, Ivan and his father before him, who had worked with Howard, both of them kind of have the ability to work with the arc reactor technology, and Ivan could have been the Tony Stark of a different reality. That's a what if to make, guys. Can you do that in a 30-minute episode? Cartoon it. Let's go. But yeah, it's what we do is we have the smarts reflected, we have the ego reflected, and Tony just deal with both of them. And that's not just obviously that's the external challenge, but we also have the internal struggle as well, as he realizes he's dying. The very thing that saved his life, the arc reactor basically put into his chest, is the thing that's killing him. It's a bit of a MacGuffin kind of thing, but where they suddenly, it's bad for him, and he's got to find something else that will save him. How would we know? How would his father know what to do, even though we've been dead for 20 years? That Tony would need this? Don't know. But what it does afford us is lots of eye candy. We get a lot of just references for nerds to enjoy. Just the Silver Centurion style triangle chess piece. Of course, we get War Machine. Rhodey takes on the War Machine armor. And then we get Natasha. We get the first appearance of the Black Widow, even though they never say the Black Widow in the entire film. Fury has a chance. Samuel L. Jackson has a chance to call her that. Doesn't. No. She's just a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And, we get to see that, we don't want to underestimate a pretty face. And Tony and Happy both do their worst trying to, they're very misogynistic in this. And then, of course, they get their butts handed to them. We get other people appearing in this, like Gary Shandling as a senator, who we'll see again, obviously, in Captain America, Winter Soldier, and a lot is revealed there. Clark Gregg comes back. John Slattery, by the way, plays Howard Stark in a bunch of flashback stuff. Of course, we have the voice of Paul Bettany as Jarvis, who will eventually come to play Vision. We get a whole lot, and we also get an appearance by Elon Musk. I think this is his second appearance. I think he appeared in the first one as well. Didn't he? Yeah. Anyway. I have an idea for an electric jet. Do you, Elon? Great. Thanks. So in this, we get all these struggles. We just build up a lot of conflict and some comedy all throughout, and it's what you expect from these movies. I understand that maybe it didn't run the kind of pace. Maybe it was a little bit. They're a little bit too drunk on their success of the last film. They're just like, hey, we can put this out, and they're gonna watch it, and we're gonna make $1 billion, and that's the way it's gonna be. And they did great, but it's also the crack show. But I think even so, I like this movie a lot more the fifth time now seeing it, probably. I haven't seen it in years, since friends and I did a marathon leading up to Avengers Infinity War. We did a marathon over a couple weeks leading up to it, because it's a lot of movies. But yeah, it's we got lots of little references to Thor, which is the next film in the run, and a reference to Captain America, a visual reference. There's just lots of fun things for the nerds to enjoy. But I think even though we downplay, people I think had a problem with just the Tony, because he is pretty much a jerk. I had some friends who were really just like not liking him at all because of his drunken rampage that he had at one point at his own house, tearing up the place and putting a lot of people's lives in danger, drunk out of his mind. Again, he realized he was dying and he wasn't telling anybody. And think about how dangerous it is to have a drunk man inside an Iron Man outfit. And it's a storyline that we were never going to end up touching on. Demon in a Bottle, which is a classic Iron Man story, where Tony's alcoholism really starts having an impact on who he is and how he handles being Iron Man. Well, this is kind of it touches on that. It just was never going to be made into a movie. It's a little bit of a downer. We're looking at dramatic Oscar bait that it's just not going to happen. But in the sense, the power of the Iron Man outfit became the poison in his life. The alcohol just became another representation of it. But the poison in his life that was killing him, the more he used it to stay alive, the arc reactor. And so, we get a montage sequence where he does his science and engineering stuff to come out of it. And it's all cool. It's an A-team moment where he just sort of builds the thing to defeat the bad guys. And there's lots of great visual things that I just didn't, I just forgot about. I also love the fact that this film is one of the films that was filmed really close to where I live. Where they used to shoot at Manhattan Beach Studios in Manhattan Beach. So they that's where they did Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, mostly all the interior stuff. This is where they shoot The Mandalorian now, and mostly all the Star Wars stuff on the States side. This is before Disney took over, moved everything to Atlanta, and changed things around, and the Burbank studios too. But for the most part, Atlanta is where everything gets shot. But yeah, it's this. I think this deserves more credit. This is one of those types of films, and I think I said this yesterday. Speaking yesterday, I'm really sorry about the Diane Fossey thing. Yeah, why was Sigourney Weaver doing the voice? She played Diane Fossey in Gorillas in the Mist. Sorry, I don't think I saw the movie, and it's been a million years since it's been out. So yeah, anyway. But yesterday I was saying how this is one of those, even if it's not like everybody's favorite film, it's one of those connecting tissue type films. And again, I've said this and other things, that Marvel needs less connecting tissue type films and more just films that tell the story on its own, rather than going, hey, you know what? This is the bridge you need to go to get from point A to point B, and here's a few little teases and tweaks and neat stuff. Like, here's a couple jokes where we don't take things seriously in the face of death and danger, but and I think some people can see that. We saw that with Quantum Mania, I think. We saw that with a few other films, but yeah, it's because we get the introduction of so many new characters. We get A Vengeance Tale. We get Tony doing a whole lot of internal struggles manifesting as external struggles, and gosh, there's a lot going on in this film, a lot more than I thought. And of course, oh yeah, by the way, there's also the kind of, I don't know, what's the term? It's kind of a retrofit. The little kid he saves in the Iron Man outfit during the Stark Expo, Peter Parker. It was not Peter Parker at the time, but since Peter Parker became part of the MCU, well, guess what? That kid is technically now Peter Parker. Yeah, and he saved Peter's life way back when, in 2010. So, or whenever. You know what? I was supposed to wear my Stark Expo shirt. I couldn't find it. It's here somewhere. Anyway, yeah, there's so many different little locations throughout LA, throughout Manhattan Beach. The golf course is right behind the Manhattan Beach Studios, where we see Gary Shandling and Justin Hammer playing golf, Sam Rockwell. So yeah, there's a whole lot of things. That's what makes it fun for me, just seeing so many recognizable places. And we also, one of the things I really like about the Iron Man films is that every film, because he is an innovator, because he is constantly tinkering and working and improving, we see different variations of the Iron Man armor over so many years, and that collection grows. Obviously, by Iron Man 3, we see how many different marks of armors that he has. But in this, we have the emergency armor that he just literally has in a suitcase, which is a callback to a comic book when he used to have that kind of thing, when he had a secret identity, and he would just be carrying around a suitcase that then he would get to put his armor on. I don't think it was exactly done the same way as it was in this film, but it's a cool way of doing it. And then eventually it just turned into like nanoparticles that would cover his body. So, but yeah, so you get to see one of these, and this is also back. I have to think about whether if when he's in like Avengers Endgame and Infinity War and stuff like that, does his armor make those whirring noises? Because it still makes the whirring noises a lot in this film, his and War Machine's. Just like, because that they're physical metal outfits that aren't necessarily hugging their body in nanoparticles. They wouldn't make that noise in the future films. But now, at this point, yeah, it's armor that can be broken and pulled off and everything else. So, yeah. And one of the great things also we get in this is the fact that we, you put War Machine in this, or we're gonna have how can we introduce him? Well, you know what? We're gonna have them fight each other. First time Rhodey puts on the armor, they fight. Who's gonna win a fight between Iron Man and War Machine? Well, that's people have always asked that question in the comics, and sometimes you got to see that. And of course, they did it right off the bat. So I say you definitely. This is a movie that's worth revisiting. You still may think is not so great as compared to some of the other ones. And my favorite out of the three is unconventional as well, as for some people. But yeah, this is just kind of a big grab bag of lots of stuff, good and I guess bad for some reason. I don't know. I think Mickey Rourke could have been a much more fleshed out character, but I think that's I don't know. It's he's basically a vengeance machine, and I guess that served its purpose. I think I realized how much he could have been Tony Stark watching it this last time, and that's what made it more interesting to me. And I've watched it enough times I could put it on the background and do other things. No, I didn't get anything done. For the most part, I didn't get anything done. Nope. I tried, but no. I had to keep watching. It's a Marvel movie. We only have one more Marvel movie in this selection that I haven't watched yet as part of this Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and that's The Incredible Hulk. I'm pretty sure that's the only one. Well, let's pick tomorrow's episode. Maybe it'll show up. 7. That's not going to be The Incredible Hulk. 7 is... it's a series. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. We're going to at least watch one episode. But it is a spin-off of the classic Alice in Wonderland tale. This is a series called Adventures in Wonderland. Yeah. It's definitely looks older. So I can't remember when it came out, but yeah. I'm pretty sure it was a Disney Channel series. I don't know. Anyway, Adventures in Wonderland on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.